So sometimes retaping your bars can be tricky. Today we're going to help you unravel the mystery.
Unravel.
Unravel.
Yeah. All right.
Let's get on topic. Hey everybody, it's Thomas with Get Out Arizona, and you are watching another great episode of Toolbox Topic. I'm joined once again by my co-host Brandon Van Leuven. Brandon, how the hell are you?
So far, so good.
Yeah, man. End of the week. You got plans for the weekend?
No.
No? Just gonna chill? Little bourbon and Netflix?
I always work on Saturday, and Sunday is usually a
Yeah, pickleball day.
sometimes.
Sometimes.
It's hard to get a court.
Yeah, in this
All
state
these
it's hard to get a
freaking
card.
people.
Yeah, I know.
But it's all right.
Goddamn
We'll give it a whirl.
pickleballers, what are you gonna do? So once again, we're coming to you from the Trek Bicycle Store of West Phoenix in Goodyear, Arizona, because it's where the cool kids hang out, huh? And me. And today, as we alluded to in the intro, we are going to show you how to properly wrap your drop bars on your road bike, because sometimes it can get tricky. You kind of have to do a switcheroo for two when you get up to the hood area. And yeah, it should be fun. It should be short and sweet for the most part.
Yeah.
I do want to thank Obi-Wan for donating his Pinarello bike.
Nice bike.
And yeah, it is. He bought the wrap and everything like that. And so thank you very much. One day we'll actually introduce Obi-Wan once he retires. About another year and a half. We'll actually get him in front of the camera. So on that note, Brandon, let's not waste any time, because we get people all the time going,
Yeah. All right.
you know, they enjoy our banter, but only for so long. So what's the process? How long does it take? What's your skill level have to be? Let's start there.
First of all, you said the proper way to do it. Well, we're going to show you my way. It might not be the proper way. Some people are like, that's not right.
Right.
Let's just show you my method, and I'll show you why I do it the way I do it.
Fair enough.
I do things definitely different than when I first started for a couple of different reasons, and I'll just talk about that along the way. But let's get that other camera rolling. How about that?
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
we'll start showing you the tools we're going to use and set up.
Brandon's on it, man. He's a slave driver today. All right, put the glasses on.
Do I need to
I'm
clap?
gonna hit record, and of course you need to clap,
All
dude.
right.
Come on, here we go. Transition for me.
1, 2, 3. That way.
All right.
All right. So I've already prepped the bars. We removed the old tape on there, which was still great tape. It was still in good shape. But I think the customer just wanted a different feel. It looks like we're going to cork. The one we had before was more like a grippy tack. It was more like a plasticky feel, which is fine. So the bike is pretty new. The tape was in good shape. Had the tape been in like kind of crappy shape and the tape would have been all gross, I would have gone through here and removed all that sticky, gross stuff with some isopropyl alcohol, clean this up all real nice before I would have started this process. But everything, the bike is brand new, the tape was brand new. I don't need to do that. The other thing I would have done before I removed the tape was using a ruler. What I like to use is a spoke ruler, is get a frame of reference to where you want that tape to end. On this one, whoever wrapped this bike before did a nice job. I liked where they ended. They ended right at this taper here, and I decided that from the center of my faceplate bolt to where that tape ended was about 60 millimeters.
Okay.
So I'm going to keep that 60 millimeters
So
in
for
mind
reference, we're on a
for
show.
later on in the process. So 60, I just measure from whatever this bolt is,
Okay.
60 millimeters, and then 60 millimeters that way.
Okay.
And that's kind of a nice clean spot where the last person ended, and I totally agree with where they stopped. So the next thing I'm going to do, here's an introduction to the tools I'm using. You could definitely use a spoke ruler if you have one. I think it's the best, or just use a tape measure, but it's fine. They're a little floppy, but this one's nice and solid. I have a pair of scissors, Park Tool scissors. I have a spanner wrench, and what I use this for is in case I get distracted or I need to do something, say I'm not quite done with my tape job, I can just hold that tape together with a spanner wrench. You can find something at home that does the same thing, maybe a clamp of some kind, just to hold it in case the phone rings or you got to go do something.
Right.
Have a way to be able to hold that tape in place while you're doing something so it doesn't unravel while you're gone. The other thing I'm going to have is a brand new razor blade for my process, and then you're going to have some electrical tape. I like Super 88. I think that works the best. It works good in the heat here, and it stretches real nice. I like it. Chanelli also came with a finishing tape. I'm not a fan of most finishing tapes. There are some good ones out there, but I always end with electrical tape. I think it looks cleaner. I think it holds up better than the finishing tape does. Preference, totally up to you.
Right.
So I'm going to start by cutting just 4 pieces of this electrical tape and setting up my work area. And this is just how I do it. Do it the way you want. I don't care. So I'm going to set up some good lengths here. I'm not going to use all this tape up.
Right.
I'm usually going to end up cutting it. So I set those pieces up there. I'm going to get my cheater. Yes, I use a little cheater strips on mine. We'll get into that why later. I know it's not traditional, but I always set my cheater strip up on my stem. Have my tools ready. Put my spectacles on. And we'll unravel my tape here. I like that the customer chose this tape. I think it's a nice tape to use. Any kind of normal gel with a cork is really easy to work with. It feels good. It stretches real nice.
Yeah,
Black,
the Snelly I've always enjoyed.
Yep, they're real nice. Black cork tape is also going to be the cleanest. I like it. If I were to be using white tape on a customer's bike with this, some people like white tape, as far as company included, I would have laid out a nice big mat of some butcher paper because I don't want this dragging on the floor. I'd also make sure my hands are super clean and my tools are super clean before I do that. So when I hand it over to the customer, they're on these black marks already on it. It gets so dirty so quickly. Just make sure you keep the area clean when using white.
Makes you wonder why anybody would use white to begin with.
So here's how I start. Okay. I make sure that the symbols, if you notice this symbol is to the outside, a little bit offset. So I like to make sure that the logo, you can kind of see it as you go along the way. If I were to start this way, you'd kind of cover up this Snelly sign, which just a little touch.
Right.
So this is a point of contention with a lot of people. So I like to start my tape right at the edge of the bar. The other technique would be to start with a few millimeters outside the bar, and then you use the plug to kind of wrap that in and hold the plug steady. Well, what I always find is that the plug always ends up working its way out.
Right.
I just don't prefer that method. So what I do is I start nice and tight. I make sure that my tape ends right at the very bottom. And if I just use the adhesive that it comes with and friction, it'll hold itself there really nicely. And it won't unravel. And then when I put the cap on, the cap's always going to be super flush to my bar. Just stays there just fine.
Okay.
So now using the logo, I'm going to make nice even wraps. And that's just another way to keep the spacing real nice as well.
Right.
And when I talk about the spacing, it's the amount of between wraps, I guess.
The distance between line points.
Yep.
And I've seen, like, you can tell when someone's wrapping it for the first time where it might be nice and fluid at first, but then it starts to either bunch up or it starts getting further apart.
Right.
And yeah, so it could be one of those things. A couple times though, I think this is one of those, you do it once, you do it twice, you're pretty much an expert at it.
Yeah.
Take your time, don't rush.
Exactly. And it takes a little bit of practice. It's all right. So I'm using that spacing. Now it's going to get a little tight. We're going to overlap a little bit more just so I don't have a lot of bunching. What you don't want, or what you're trying to eliminate, is this little gap here. So you can go ahead and pull it, give it a little tug. It's no problem. It will break if you put too much pressure on it. And here's where we're going to start using my cheater. The reason I do use a cheater instead of the figure 8 is because two reasons. I don't like the feel of figure 8 on my own bike because it tends to get under the hood and it feels a little bulky to me. The other thing is, now with the popularity of these really wide aerodynamic handlebars, sometimes we're going to start running out of tape. Even though I'm pulling it tight, I'm going to run out and I'm going to come up short. So that figure 8 takes kind of a lot of tape real estate up. So again, that's going to help me later on down the road if I have a wider bar like those older Madones and the newer Imandas. You need all the tape you can get in some point at some times. And the cork is a little more stretchy, but you will find that some customers prefer some bar tape that is not as stretchy, and so you really will be struggling for some tape later on down the road. So this might take a few. Oh, let's see. Let me start over again. I do this a lot. Sometimes I see a spot I don't like and then start again. No problem with that.
Nope, nothing wrong with that at all.
So this is a good point. I make sure my cheater tape is covering up all the parts that I want it to. And the hood will help that as we fold back the hood here in a moment as well. And I come back over the top. Again, using that same spacing, using the Chinelli logo. And if you don't have a logo, just do your best to keep the spacing as even as possible.
I used to use the adhesive as a frame of reference. You know, kind of make sure that adhesive was on the bar, and then that overlap that would be onto the tape, it would give it a nice even spacing.
For sure.
I've seen some tapes too that are actually marked. They've got hash marks, so you know.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and so you just go right along the hash marks, and when you're done wrapping, you don't see the hash line, the hash marks, but you have that as a reference point as well.
Got it.
So
that's good thinking.
Yeah, never had that back in the day. Jeez. Of course, we didn't have a lot of the things that we have today, so all we had was MySpace.
Oh man, I never even did that.
Neither did I.
So I'm keeping it fairly tight. Now, we mentioned that 60 millimeters before.
Right.
But I'm going to have a little bit left over on this one because it is stretchy. It's a good gel cork. If you want to know, the worst one to work with is actually Brooks leather tape. That is absolutely a nightmare. It does not stretch. It bunches up all the time.
But it's also
really hard. But once you do it and get it on there, it breaks in just like anything Brooks. It's high quality stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's really nice, but it's really, I'm not ever happy about putting that in. So I'm going all the way to the end with whatever material I have left, and now I'm going to use my spanner wrench to hold it in place.
Okay.
And at this point, before I do anything else, I'm going to put this hood back. I want to make sure I'm happy with the wrap. I'm going to go back and double check it. Everything looks nice and tight. I'm happy with my spacing. I think it looks pretty decent.
Yeah.
I want to see what my cap does. See, my cap's a little loose, right? And that's because they've already compensated for what you're going to tuck in here.
Right.
So now I'm going to use some of my electrical tape, and I'm going to use this to fill up that gap and make sure that it holds in there nice and snug. That might be too much. We'll see. Making sure the logo is correct.
Right, it's the little things.
Yep, and there it goes. I think this looks all right. I'm pleased with that. So now we're going to go back to that 60 millimeters we're talking about. And now that I have my glasses on, I can actually see where 60 millimeters is, vaguely. So again, I'm using the outer bolts as my reference point. And 60 millimeters ends right there. Now what I want to do with one of my finishing tapes here, or one of my electrical tapes, is wrap this just in the middle of the 60 millimeters, and you'll see why here in a moment. I want to keep this fairly snug. So right now 60 millimeters is just about in the middle of my electrical tape job. And I can let loose of my spanner wrench.
Right.
Get rid of any excess to get it out of my way. All right, so here's where the controversy comes in. This is what I do.
Okay.
I take a brand new razor blade.
Right.
I'm not going to chop. I'm just going to kind of push down on it.
Right.
Aluminum's not so bad. It's pretty resilient. If someone had a real nice carbon bar, I don't want to be chopping in that carbon. A, it's going to look bad, and I just don't want to cut up any carbon. So
Right.
using a very sharp new blade, I'm just going to push down on this to get a nice cut on there.
Right. So controversial, Brandon.
So here, you'd be amazed. So here's 60 millimeters right here. I'm going to start my...
The internet's just going to be on fire.
You know, roadies, they get all
Oh, I know
worked
roadies,
up.
dude. And for any roadie that's watching, this is, I mean, video's obviously for you. Don't act like you don't know what we're talking about. So, because deep down, I'm a roadie at heart, so I get it.
So again, not cutting. I'm just kind of using this as putting pressure down.
Yeah. Well, and this is why you use a new blade, too.
Correct. All right, let's see where we're at. Might take a little bit of cleanup here. All right. So a little bit of spots with electrical tape, but that's going to get covered up. So this is what I'm left with. Now I want to clean this up.
Right.
And this is where we use this electrical tape again. And what I do is I overlap the ridge just by a little bit, and when I pull it tight, you're going to see that it's going to end up nice and clean. You pull it tight enough, it's going to wrap around.
Oh, yeah.
Might take a little bit of nudging. And then using the same amount of pressure around, come around one more time. And to me, oh, I got a little bit of pucker here. I might do that one over. I didn't do it quite tight enough, but you get the idea how it'll kind of fold itself over and make a real nice finishing touch to the tape.
Absolutely.
This is how I like my bar tape to look. Hopefully you all like it the same way as well. But we're all done with this side. Repeat the other side, and that's it.
Yep, and we don't need to show that. So, Brandon,
Nope.
take us back to the main camera. 3, 2, transition. All right, my friends, there you have it. There is Brandon's way on how to wrap your road bike handlebars, or gravel bike for that matter.
Yeah.
And so, drop style bar. We'll leave it at that as far as that
Fair
goes.
enough.
We don't want to exclude anybody. So, and yes, Brandon showed you his way. There are a couple other ways to do it, and it does boil down to personal preference and maybe how you were showed, how you were taught. If you work at a bike shop, or if you're a roadie and you've been doing it for a while, the person that taught you, and you know, at the end of the day, as long as it's done properly and it works, who cares? Get your dog to do it. Maybe he's got the secret sauce on as far as that goes. But there's how you do it. We want to thank Obi-Wan once again for donating the bike and the materials to bring this video to you. That was very nice and generous of him to do. And guys, at that point, Brandon, is there anything else you want to add?
No.
No? All right. Short and sweet. There you have it. Like, subscribe, bell notification icon. Why? It's the trifecta we like so much here at Get Out Arizona. It helps out the channel. It helps out the video tremendously, and we appreciate you for that. Links down below. Trek Bicycle Store of West Phoenix is the most important one. If you have any questions about this video or any of the videos that you've seen on Get Out Arizona Toolbox topic, you're more than welcome to follow that link. Give the guys a call. They'd be more than happy to help you. The other links are to our social media. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, the devil's work, but it's necessary. Keep up on the day-to-day affairs of Get Out Arizona. We hike, we bike, we do group activities. It's a whole lot of fun to come out and just chill and hang out with like-minded people. So, affiliate links down below as well. You make a qualifying purchase, we get a small commission. You don't get charged anything else, and that helps out with gas money, park pass money, and coffee money, the other trifecta that we enjoy so much here at Get Out Arizona. So, on that note, my friends, what do we always say? Be kind to yourself and others. Be amazing stewards out on that trail. And we have to ask, what are you waiting for?
Get out Arizona.
Here we go. Every week I just do something different and it throws them off because I never talk about it with them, but that's okay. That's what makes the partnership work. So, all right, my friends, have an amazing day and we'll catch up with you soon. Brandon, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, man. Bye.